Over the past few months, customers have asked whether any instructional videos might exist for the assembly of the AMP Shuttle flight deck window set. During their own time in business, AMP Australia did not provide such a video. So, due to customer demand, we are providing this video guide for the assembly of the Shuttle flight deck window set. When we resurrected the AMP window set, I decided not to try to rewrite their instruction manual, but I'd add an addendum sheet to the manual which explains why we reissued the set and what the differences are between the original AMP provided product and our version. AMP only produced the set in 1/72 scale. No reason was ever given. We are providing this product in 1/72, 1/100, and 1/144 scales. This video uses the 1/72 scale product as a reference, but the same processes will apply to all three scales. Additional care must be taken, however, when working with the smallest 1/44 scale set. Also, the AMP set was most likely produced using die-cutting tools, which we don't have access to. I am employing a laser cutter to make the window frames and to etch the clear window sections. So these differences will show up in handling and assembly. This diagram shows the three frame parts and two clear sections required to make one forward windshield. The port side or left side of the orbiter is shown as a reference. The process will be duplicated for the starboard or right-hand side. The diagram also shows the proper paint scheme for early orbiters, such as Enterprise and Columbia, and the remainder of the shuttle fleet. The instructions for removal of the elements from the fret, or the host sheet, were based on die-cutting process which AMP used. Using the laser cutter, we try to go almost through the plastic, leaving just enough behind to hold the part in place during shipping and handling. A light trace with a sharp X-Acto knife may be needed to dislodge the part from the sheet. The original AMP instructions ask you to remove the window frame elements prior to painting. In our modeling work, we chose to do the painting while the frames were still part of the host sheet. If you do remove the elements before painting, you can hold them using painter's tape, as we did with the overhead and cargo bay window frames seen here. This diagram shows how to properly bend the frame and clear elements to match the shape needed to fit the orbiter. The bend should follow a line through the center of each window pair. The front window frame will have the most severe angles. This photo was added to our manual addendum sheet and shows a precision pliers, a tool that's normally used to work with photo-etched metal parts. I found this to be a very effective tool in the window frame bending process. The two clear window elements for the forward windshield must be cut away from their host sheet using a precision scissors or X-Acto knife. Since the laser cannot cut clear plastic, we use the beam to etch the pattern onto the surface of the plastic. You can then follow the pattern to get the correct fit. For each forward windshield set, the narrow outer frame is first attached to the front of a clear section using clear canopy glue or its equivalent. Do not attempt to use plastic weld cement or superglue on any of the window assemblies. The frames and their clear sections should also be pre-bent prior to assembly. The forward outer frame and its attached clear section, and the M1 mask and its attached clear section, are shown being built as separate subassemblies. Thin strips of masking tape can be used to hold these elements in place during curing. Once the two subassemblies have cured, they can be combined, along with the M2 inner mask, into a complete forward windshield assembly. It's the stacking of the masks and the clear sections together that provide the sense of dimensional depth of the windows. When the full assemblies have cured initially, it's recommended that clear glue be used all around the outer edges to lock the parts into place. Using the heavy paper template provided, trace the outline of the windshield assembly around and over the openings molded into the model. The plastic inside that line will need to be carefully removed using a Dremel tool or an X-Acto knife and file. The revised opening should allow the windshield assembly to fit flush with the body of the orbiter. Once the fit and the opening are verified, the windshield assembly can be glued into place. This image shows the two forward windshield assemblies installed into the body of a 1/72nd scale monogram shuttle orbiter. A similar assembly process is used for the two overhead windows. Just as with the forward windshields, there is an outer frame and two inner frame masks, with clear sections glued to the outer and first inner mask, and the last inner mask attached to the back of each assembly. After the glue for each assembly has cured, the template tracing, revising of the openings, and fitting process will also be used for the two overhead windows. This image shows the two overhead windows installed into the monogram orbiter. The two aft cargo bay windows normally have only three parts: an outer frame, a central clear section, and an inner frame. At your discretion, an additional inner clear section can be added. Once all the window sets are installed and exterior surfaces have been joined and leveled, final paint and decal details can be added to your model. In our own 1/72 scale Atlantis build, we added small dots of silver paint to replicate the attachment points for the black tiles surrounding the cockpit windows. You can also see the transition from white tiles surrounding the cockpit to the blanket type insulation used on the later orbiter's lower temperature regions. These photos are included in the instructions to serve as a reference for different orbiter configurations. This one shows the starboard side windows of orbiter Discovery. This view, taken from the International Space Station, shows the entire starboard side windows of orbiter Endeavour. This image of orbiter Columbia clearly shows the red-colored seal material originally employed on the orbiter's cockpit windows. The same construction was also used on orbiter Enterprise. This image shows a view of the aft cargo bay windows of orbiter Discovery. I hope this video has helped in providing some additional guidance on how to build up and install the AMP Lake County Spaceport Shuttle Flight Deck window set. As always, read the instructions thoroughly, take your time, and don't rush. Time spent doing a job well is time well spent. Ad astra per forma.